Hi, readers. We're approaching the end of Number the Stars. And once you get to the end of a book, it's a very important time because you're able to look back and think to previous chapters and see how those parts fit together. And also think about surprising parts because often those surprising parts reveal big ideas. Today, we're going to look at some surprising parts through the lens of power. When you investigate who has the power or how that power changes, that helps you find huge meanings in your books. So, can you think back to earlier parts in Number the Stars? What were some parts that surprised you in the beginning of the text? You might want to say it out loud or think it to yourself. Great. So, I'm sure some of you were thinking, well, one surprising part was when Anna Marie and her friend are stopped by the German soldier, right? Early on, they're running down the street and he tells them to halt, and they do. In that scene, I'm already thinking about these questions to help me see that scene through the lens of power. Who makes the rules? Who's in charge? Who has the power? Well, in that scene, when the girls are running down the street, they're just two little girls playing. They're given this direction to stop, and they do. They're given the direction to go straight home, and I believe he says, "And stop running. You look like hoodlums when you run." And the girls follow the directions. So the German soldier, the Nazi, has the power, and these girls, they have to just listen. I'm sure some of you are thinking about different parts in the story, like when Mrs. Hirsch's shop, when it's closed down, and Anne Marie realizes that for the first time. In that part, we realize that the Jewish Danes don't have the power. Again, the Nazis have the power. They're able to make the rules and decide who can have business and who cannot. When we think about who has the power, it's also important to remember that, of course, there's always one side that's going to have power, but then people don't just give in. There's always a group of people that resist the power and fight for what's right. So, can you think to different parts or scenes in Number the Stars? Think of an example of the resistance. So, what is the resistance and what is their power? In other words, who is against the Nazis? What moments, what scenes in the book help you see this? Again, think to yourself or say it out loud. Great. So I'm sure some of you were thinking, well, one example of resistance is for Anne Marie's family. The fact that they take in a friend and they're not allowed to do this, but they do. They lie in order to protect her. That's one form of resistance. Others were probably thinking Peter when he figures out these escape routes for the Jewish Danes. That's a form of resistance. Or maybe you were thinking about the fishermen who worked together to build these hidden compartments in their boats in order to hide Jewish Danes. That's a form of resistance. After you look at different parts through the lens of resistance, it's important to kind of put it all together and see how this can help you grow your idea. So, early on, we were all talking, maybe during morning meeting or in book clubs. We were thinking that this story was just about one brave family. But now we're realizing that this story is really about all of Denmark, right? About resistance leaders like Peter, people like the fishermen, again, building these hidden compartments in the boats, and also ordinary families and friends. Readers, today you're going to read for 45 minutes. While you read, see if you could think about who has the power and who is part of the resistance in your book. Make sure to answer the daily reading question.